Hello, excellent people. I am Charles Beatty. This is Aim at Excellence, and it is a beautiful evening in East Tennessee. The breeze is blowing, birds are chirping, the cicadas are not cicadaing. So, uh, you know, I told you guys I would have some more on the Dreams into Excellence project done over the weekend, and I did not get to it. But if you look behind me, you'll see these cannas that are planted up next to this wall. I did not plant these cannas over the weekend. They would not look this nice if I had, but I planted a bunch more. We've been transplanting them from a spot up the hill. And so I got a bit of a wild hair going and dug up 3 tractor buckets full of them. And then we have planted them in various places along the front of the house. And in fact, even in the driveway, our driveway and patio come up against each other, and the transition is very abrupt. So we create a green wall with the cannas to force a single exit from the driveway parking area into the patio. And I think it's going to look really nice. Right now, it looks a little bit shabby. In fact, I can show it to you. So these cannas were planted, I think, a month or two ago, and so they were really small for starters. And then these guys are the ones that are in the driveway. These are actually in the gravel, but you can see they're not quite adjusted to the space. Although some of them are, like this guy right here is looking really good, and the guys on the frontage of the house are looking pretty good. So I'm excited about them filling in the rest of the year, and then really they're going to look super nice next year, because the spot they came from is just over abundantly lush, and I look forward to these spaces being overly abundantly lush with them. So anyhow, I did that instead of working on Aim at Excellence, and I hope you'll forgive me. I hope that showing you some of my work so you can either admire or hate it or be indifferent to it helps to justify it. Anyhow, today is a bit of an update. I've just had some stuff in my mind that I wanted to share. And in particular, I wanted to talk today about making choices. And there are two things that I think are relevant in making choices that I want to talk about today. And the first thing is making choices that leave you open for opportunity. And the other thing is making choices from the choices that are available to you rather than the choices that you wish were available to you. I've talked about that topic in the past. I haven't talked so much about the opportunism in the past. And so I will touch very briefly on the second issue and then go back to the first. I'm going to talk about how I think making choices that give you more options are good, especially the further you are from your goal. And so when we think about how far we are from our goal, we're going to have to make choices. The farther we are from our goal, the less ideal our options are as far as the choices available to us. I think that's fairly logical. If that doesn't make sense, post in the comments and I'll elaborate. So then, if we have limited choices available to us and none of them are ideal, how do we choose the one of the options? And my answer is, which one gives you the greatest options? I'm using the same word in two different contexts, so don't get too confused, but which choice has more optionality built into it? Because I believe that if you don't know how to get where you're going, the worst thing you can do is lock yourself into a path. I have some plans that I'm working on that are sort of short to medium term plans, and I'm not quite ready to talk about them because I've got a little bit more development to do. But suffice to say, I'm working on some, we'll call them ultimatums for 2023. So it's currently 2021. And I'm working on some stuff where I would like to have made either or choice or have made either or shift in my life by 2023, which is a year and a half from now, which is plenty of time to develop these options. But I haven't decided between these two paths yet. And one of the biggest things that I'm going to do to decide is I'm going to start myself down both paths simultaneously. And then as they develop and I gather more information, I'm going to choose the one that gives me the best exposure. So that's something this is, revealing my bias, but I would rather have available options and connections and skills than a sure thing. My wife will tell you that I am not a planner, which I think is misleading, but that's also because I'm a really, I argue the little details and the semantics probably too much. But I don't plan much, or I plan in a very broad stroke. And then I try to make lots of small decisions that keep me open to options. I was watching a TV show the other day, and I don't even remember what it was, but there was a comment in the show that said, "No plan survives contact with the enemy," or whatever it was that they had said. And I think that's key. That's I've taken that so much to heart that I make very, very little plan, and that makes my wife uncomfortable because she's a planner. And what I will tell you is, it's a wonderful combination because I can rely on her to make plans, and I can bounce my ideas off of her, and we can trust each other to fill in each other's gaps. And so when she says, "I have a plan and it's going to cover this hole in your lack of a plan," I trust her and I execute on her plan. But when her plan makes contact with the enemy and she doesn't know what to do, she trusts me to navigate us through the muck. So that's these are kind of like examples, I guess, of, without being super specific, of real world applications of what I mean. But like I said, I'm really just sort of articulating my own bias here a little bit, but I'm also kind of putting it out there for those of you who find yourself challenged. If you haven't thought about this before and you find yourself trying to figure out how to navigate the decisions that you have to make as a person, whether it's as an adult, when it's a career-based decision, or whether it's a young person, when it's a, how to manage your time wisely kind of decision. There's so many ways to skin this, and I'm reluctant to get deep in the weeds on examples without having someone just ask me a question about their example. I think that's actually where, I appreciate this platform because I just had an idea. I'm realizing where my limitation is. I have great difficulty sharing this information in a specific way. But if someone were to ask me a real question, I could then respond to their real question and provide my reasoning given their context. There's one last thing before I close. There's a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk is his name, and I've been a fan of his YouTube and other videos online in years past. And something that he does, I think, really well is when he's asked to speak, he gets up there and he might be asked to speak for an hour, and he might speak for like 10 minutes with prepared content, and then he's right into Q&A. And it's Q&A, 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 Q&A. And he gets to speak his piece, but he's speaking to people's specifics. And I really like that. I think that's a good method. So I will try to create an environment where I can do that as a way to bring my ideas down to earth. So if you're watching this and you've gotten this far, and these thoughts have made you think of anything specific from your life, please do share, because I would really love the opportunity to grow in my own sense by taking these ideas of mine that are abstract and applying them to specifics. So I hope this has been valuable. Please participate if you're able. Thank you for watching. Get out there, aim at excellence.